Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is your review for Monster, the Ed Gein story. We're gonna wrap it up, episodes 4 through 8. And we're gonna try to jam pack all 4 episodes in here without being before you way too long. We really can't go. Let me just get into it, because I don't want to. I know how I can get. I can go left, off on a tangent, start talking about my own life. I'll do that. And so, because I know I do that, we're gonna try. We're gonna try so y'all ain't here for a whole hour and a half. Okay, we can't have that. Getting into episode 4. Episode 4 was called Green. Adeline, she's tiptoeing around the house. Ed is downstairs mummifying this poor girl. He done killed the babysitter. She gets close enough, Adeline that is, she gets close enough to turn around that rocking chair. And when she does, the cat's out the bag. Of course, she starts screaming and hollering, runs her ass out the house. She ain't gonna be able to do it. Ed hears her screams and then runs and follows her and chases her. She runs back home and runs into her house. Her mama done left. And so she has to go in there and lock herself in there. And she's standing up in her window, looking out the window, watching him, because he's just standing there looking up in the window at her. He ends up breaking in her house through the basement. Just lets himself on in. And I'm like, girl, why wouldn't you lock that door? you don't have nan lock on that basement outside. The door is outside to get in. Not a lock in sight. No, none of the doors are locked. When he gets to her room, she already got her bra and panties laid out for him. She's always pulling a Jedi mind trick on him. She asked him, about the body that she found. He's honest. He's honest with her. And she don't seem to care at all. She's very strange. She's a very peculiar girl. It's definitely obvious she's also mentally disturbed. Because she says nothing human disgusts her. None of that is human. That's not human nature. Digging up corpses and necrophiliac and all of that, that's not human. I don't know what you thought. I don't know what you. I don't know, lady, but that ain't it. We see Ed. He unwraps the babysitter. Then he puts on some lingerie for her. Then he puts on her lingerie, because that's his thing, and he gonna parade around. We see this woman. She got tremors. She's looking real shaky. She's at work going through when Ed drops by. He's in there to buy some lime again. And that's not alarming to the people that this man keeps coming in here buying lime. I guess not. I guess the people just buy lime regularly around there. Anyway, he in there to buy some lime. And she's just so appreciative of Ed's kindness, because people don't be coming around there to her store. They don't patronize her business because she a hoe. We just gonna go on and flat out say it. Ed, he just in there sizing her up and, looking. He invites her to dinner. He kind of looking her up and down like he's attracted to her. He invites her to dinner. She accepts. When they get to dinner, Ed, we see he's starting to hallucinate because he's seeing colors that are not there. It's almost like they put us in the mind of a schizophrenic. We find out, spoiler alert, because we find out later on that is exactly what's going on with him. But they definitely put us in the mind of a schizophrenic and how they see the world. Bernice, that's her name. She's going through. She's smoking on a cigarette, still crying and fretting. She's just going through. She tells him that he reminds her of her ex. His name was Bert. Bert was a married man who ended up leaving his wife for her. The wife drank bleach and she commits suicide. And so, he just couldn't deal with the guilt of that. He ended up running away. He hit the road. He hit the road on her ass and just left her to pick up the pieces and to deal with the aftermath because you know they shamed her. The whole community, everybody shamed her. She's the Jezebel of the town. Um, she notices that he's admiring her brassiere. She said, "You looking at my brassiere?" Or bust. You know, they spoke so proper. um, and she, you know, he gonna ask to wear the bra. And none of these, and nobody is ever thrown off by his proclivities at all. All the women he encounters that he ends up opening up to, they're all like, "Oh, okay." She couldn't listen. She couldn't wait. She's flattered. She ends up taking that bra off, handing it to him under the table, and told him to sniffing and all of that. She's getting all aroused and carrying on. Um, he takes her skating. They go skating. He ends up seeing that babysitters. He hallucinates her skating around as well. And then he gonna have the nerve to speak to her. Anyway, he goes and gets them a cold drink or whatever, and then, you know, the lady at the bar ends up being the Nazi lady that he's been reading about in those comics. And she gonna tell him that Bernice would make a wonderful couch. So now the idea is put in his head for him to hurt this lady. Bernice tells Ed, because he said he drank wine one time. She was like, "Oh, you wine? I know we can get some wine." So she take him back to his house. And, she ready. Bernice is ready. She is very forward, okay? She sit on the couch and then pull out and then flash her breasts and takes her panties off and gives it to him. And it's because she's like, "If you me real good, I'll let you wear my panties." And he's like, "Okay, I can do that, bet." And again, nobody cares about him wearing women's underwear. It ain't no judgment from me. Like, dude, listen, because there are people out there that's their thing. That would completely throw me off. That's not my ministry. But for these women, they were okay with it. They were okay. Bernice ain't care. She ain't care at all. She was here for it. Because he had her bra on, and that turned her on even more. Anyway, they do what they do or whatever. Ed finally gets him a piece. As promised, he gets to wear her panties, And he wants to know, like, okay, so where do we go from here? And she's like, "Well, you go home, pack up your stuff, and you come move in over here." That's just really how it went back then. "You come move in over here, that's where we go from here." And he's like, "Wait, I forgot. I fell in love with another girl. There's another girl, like, oh, so what do I do about that?" And she's like, "Ed, you moving in over here. I'm the only girl for you. Kerr." She say, "You're mine." "Okay, auntie." And he gonna say, "Yes, ma'am." So he goes home, greets his mother, the corpse, with a kiss. And now, now we're seeing he and Jackie. That's not his mama's name, but she Jackie on over there on Roseanne. So she Jackie. Jackie, they have a conversation, about him moving out. She guilts him. He has that back and forth with himself, really. And as soon as he hit the door, she starts saying about that woman, about Bernice being a hoe and a Jezebel and all the things. She's a town bicycle. Everybody has had a ride, okay? And then she tells him that the lady has syphilis and now you got it. And he took it to heart. All of that he believed. All of it. We see Ed standing outside the hardware store watching her. She's trying to close up the store. He got the gun in tow, by the way. Goes in there and she's like, "Well, I got a surprise for you." She takes him to the back of the store where she has a little romantical picnic set up for them and a present, and the candle lit and everything. She got the wine and everything. He's like, "Oh, we're drinking every day, huh?" Because it's improper to have a glass of wine daily. And she's like, "Absolutely, that's what we doing." And then he starts going in about her, because he opens the present first. It's all her bras. He loves it. Then he gonna say, they got to break up. I talked to Mother, and Mother told me about your venereal diseases. And she's like, whoa, what? That's a horrible, horrible rumor, and it's not true. You know, so now they have this back and forth because she has to defend her honor. Because he right here calling her a Jezebel, calling her a hoe, a loose woman with venereal diseases. She's not here for it. So they have a, you know, they have a back and forth. And she puts him out and is like, and give me back my damn bras. You can't have them neither. She goes to the door to let him out. And he stands there looking and then sees that, because this is a hardware, I mean, a gun shop, hardware, whatever. She has guns on the walls. He looks over there and is like, I need that one because I can't kill a deer with this one. Her stupid. See, when it comes to him, it's these moments where it's like, you are absolutely in your right mind making these cunning decisions. To stand there and have the foresight to say, I'm not going to use my gun so that they trace the bullets back to me. I'm going to use the gun on her wall. So you absolutely, you're culpable. I'm not just finna. There's mental illness there, but there's also manipulation there, and you know it. There's also that. But he take that gun, of course. You know, long. I ain't even got to tell no long tale, because he don't drag it out at all. You know, while her back is turned, he puts the bullets in the gun and shoots her in the back of the head. Takes the register and her body, drags it out the door. I said, poor Bernice. Anyway, we see these two guys. They're lost, you know. They stumble up on a barn. It's snowing outside. They just want to, you know, stop somewhere and get warm. They go inside, and Ed in there talking about some. I hoped you didn't come in here. I'd hoped you guys didn't come inside. Sure enough. That was the biggest mistake they ever made, walking up in there. Because now they done seen too much. They go running. He chased them with the chainsaw. He has the somebody's face on his head. And so then we have these similarities with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We see Ed. He tells Adeline that he did something bad. Did something real bad. She's like, show me. You know, she want to see. It's a body, of course. Bernice is upside down and she's been mutilated. Like, gutted like a pig. Head gone. These two crazy as hell because she don't do nothing but pull her camera out and start taking pictures. So, okay, it's 1959, and we see these two teenagers outside. They're talking about Ed. They're talking about his story, and one of them asked their father at dinner that night because Daddy knew Ed, or knew of him, you know, like they grew up around the same time. And he's asking him questions about, you know, details about the case and all of that, and the mama, of course, she don't want him to, you know, she's like, Bill. And Bill just steady talking. Bill just steady continue, you know, just steady sharing all the details. 1968. So this boy, I'm assuming, is now he's now an adult, and we see him in a store, and he looking around. It's a long line. It's Christmas time. It's a long line. I guess this is a gift wrapping line. And he looks over and sees this chainsaw, same one that he knows same one that he knows that Ed Gein used. And so he picks it up, and then we just see him start tearing the folks up. Okay, slicing and dicing everyone in the line, just spinning around with the chainsaw. Then we see him like come to. So that really wasn't happening. It was all going on in his head. He goes and takes that idea to a friend, like, we can make a movie out of this. And friend is like, a movie about somebody just going nuts with a chainsaw? That's not even realistic. He's like, absolutely it is. Ed Gein. you know, and then we see, Ed putting on the skin, tucked his peen and everything. You know, then it's these moments where it's like, I hope it was worth it. I really hope it was worth it. I really hope in the end, I hope you amass all the wealth and success that was promised to you. I really do. And I hope that your soul is well. You know, with the decisions that you've made, because there are just, like, again, some lines just we not crossing. It was almost like the same thing that the actor in Psycho was dealing with the fact that this is what he had to do to portray this character. You willing to do that? Cool. You know, hey. Seeing this actor do all of the things, it's like, yeah, you definitely want more. Because I'm not familiar with him. I know he's been in other movies, and, you know, I'm sure he's a well-known actor to somebody. I'm not familiar with him, but I'm sure after this, we're going to see more of him. Because, you know, that's all it takes. That's all it be taking for some. Anyway. He up there with the mask on, with his peen tucked and all of that. And he's, you know, parading around like he's a woman. And I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot. And then we see that they are filming a movie. We see these people running through the woods, and he's chasing people on the person is getting chased on set or whatever. And then we also see at the same time Ed in real life chasing those men around the woods, and he has his Leatherface on, and he ends up, you know, cutting him up within minutes. Leatherface and Ed just twirling around with the chainsaw. Listen, that scene was good. I'm not even gonna hold you. It was great. It was great, Ryan. It really was. To see the similarities between the two stories. It is just like, y'all, did everybody pull from Ed Gein? He is the worst of the worst, I'm assuming. The most depraved. Mentally. So much so, that's where we go for all the dark stories. We can pull from Ed Gein, because Ed Gein did it. I had no idea Texas Chainsaw Massacre was another one I needed to add to the movie list of movies based off that man. You wouldn't have been able to tell me Texas Chainsaw Massacre was from true events. What? I had no idea. They done learn me something for sure. Okay, let's move on to episode 5. I'm gonna leave these notes small. No. Let me zoom in at least once so I don't get wrapped up in the notes, because sometimes the stuff just be jumbling, like it's a hint of dyslexia going on. It ain't though. Anyway, this one is called Ice, episode 5. So Adeline, she's out. She fornicating, child. She said, "I'm too big for this small town. I'm too big for this. I'm better than y'all." She like, "I like to smoke cigarettes and fornicate. I'm just too big for this small town." She's got to get out of here, okay? She's on the first chance she's getting on a train, and she's getting out of here. Anyway, she's into it with her mother. Her mama is trying to teach her how to be a housewife. You know, she gonna listen. You got to go over there and attend the domestic husbandry class every Wednesday night. You get your ass over there. I was cracking up at the name domestic husbandry. Anyway, back in the boudoir, Adeline's little boyfriend, he been hearing about her around town with Ed Gein. And she say, you know, it's modern and city-like to have friends, because, you know, she's a big city girl. She's going to be a big city girl. And it's modern and city-like to have friends. Don't you know that? And she assures him it's just platonic. It's nothing like that. And then on his way, he tries to insult her a little bit. Try to throw a little dirt on her. He was being real nasty about it. And so she throws it back at him because he's into bestiality. He be in there assaulting his pigs. Disgusting. He needs to be thrown in jail. And they got the nerve to tell her something wrong with her. Randy, please. Anyway, Ed, he's having dinner with, I want to say is he with Adeline? Hold on, because these kids. Ed is having dinner with Adeline. They're commiserating over their day of, grotesque and gore. Ed say he want to start creating a family. He want to start working on a family. And she says, well, I got to go to domestic husbandry, so we're going to have to wait on that. He tells her, you don't have to listen to your mother. You ain't got to go. Let me be the boss of you. He's just real horny for her. Just real horny. And she pushes him off. Says she's saving herself for marriage. It's not happening. Down to the domestic husbandry meeting, Adeline in there being sassy and giving the people attitude, just making all kind of crass jokes. It's just going over their heads too. And then she calls one of the women, the host, she called him her son a rapist, and all of that before being thrown out. And then she tell the lady she's gonna laugh at her funeral. Sure enough, that's what she was doing. The lady done died, had a heart attack, and she at the funeral cracking up, wearing all red. She takes Ed out to dinner. She give him, she feeds him real good, buys him all kind of food. And she tells him, listen, I'm going away. I'm getting out of here. I'm going away. I've got a job interview with that photographer I was telling you about, so, and I figured you come out there and visit whenever when I get settled. Ed don't really know about the idea, but of course she's like, you got to come out there. It's going to be great, blah, 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 blah. She's got gifts for him. She brings him a book and his favorite little comic book with the Nazis, and all of that. On the ride home, he gonna try to kidnap her. He gonna try to kidnap her so they can consummate the union. She makes him stop the car. She said, we need to talk. Listen, you pushing too hard for sex. You doing way too much. It's my choice, and I feel like you're trying to take my choice away from me. She's very manipulative. Very, very, very much so. She knows what she's doing as well. And she gonna say, listen, I'm finna go, but why don't you get somebody that can't say no? Take him right to the cemetery. She's the one who introduced him to the necrophiliac. So it was her. They go in there and they pick a corpse. She's gross. She ends up picking the lady whose son is out there messing with the pigs. The host of the domestic husbandry meeting. That's who they dig up. That's who she sell off. Anyway. Adeline, we see she off to New York. She tells her friend, this is the last you'll ever see of me. I'm out of here. You'll never see me again. She like, damn, well, can I come visit? Nope. She was just so sure of herself that she was never coming, that she was out of there and she was never coming back. It was just going to all work out for her. Anyway, Ed, he's at the movies watching a movie about that trans woman that he's obsessed with, Christine. He ain't watching it, though. Of course, he's just standing there staring. The people in there cleaning like, hey, movie been over an hour. You all right? Just been standing there. We closed. Adeline, we see she's stuck in this cold room because she ain't got no money for no room with some heat. So her room is freezing. And she down there trying to, get the landlord to have some sympathy for her. She's like, girl, go get some more work, get some more money, and you can pay for the room. You won't. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you. No handouts. And slam the door in her face. Ed, he's trying to wine and dine that corpse. Playing music and all of that, trying to get it in the mood. Put on a record, the music. He said the music is off, so he go get the what you call it, a bagpipe, accordion, the little thing that Steve Urkel be playing. He gonna get one of those and plays it for her, and that gets him in the mood. And he proceeds to assault that dead body. In his mind, he felt like she was enjoying it. Anyway, Adeline, she gets to her interview. She done all but pressured that man. He like, why you keep writing me? He got an attitude straight away. So it was nothing. She's absolutely a little off because she ain't pick up on none of his social cues. He wasn't riding her bag or none of that. But she done cornered this man. And he's like, I don't need no assistant. Last assistant I had could not shake it. They couldn't do the job. And she's like, I got some of my work. I want to show you some of my work. It's all dim. He can't see nothing. He just reads her down. Tells her she ain't worth a damn. And sends her on her way. Poor thing. She thought it was going to be her big break. But he was mean as hell to her. When she gets back to her room, of course, she's just so distraught. She in there crying. She ends up packing up her bag and goes downstairs to demand a room with he. And the lady is like, girl, we're not doing it. Eddie pick up some, I think she take her shoe off and beat the brakes off that lady. I mean, beats her down. Snatches money out of the register and heads on back home. With her tail between her legs. Because, girl, I thought you wasn't coming back never again. You said you wasn't coming back no more. Anyway. Like I said, she back home. Wait, first we see Ed. And we see how the butcher's story ends. For whatever reason, I don't know who tipped the people off, but she ended up being arrested, for all of her war crimes and put away forever. Ed is a weirdo because, of course, then he fantasizes about the butcher, while he in there sleeping with that corpse. Adeline back home. Her mom like, oh, I thought you wasn't ever coming back. Oh, here you are. Now she feel like she home and she got to explain herself. And her mama ends up sharing how, she, what, your mental instability is my fault. It's all my fault. You're the way that you are. She said she was a teenage mom. She got pregnant as a teenager, didn't want her. So she threw herself down the stairs a few times. It just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. And she's saying this is why you're so unnatural. Her mom is mean as hell. Mean. You hear me? Adeline, she go run straight to Ed, and when they get going, he put his hands in her panties and it's too warm. It's too warm. He's used to cold and dry. He couldn't even do nothing with it. Couldn't do nothing with her warm coochie, so he made her go sit in an ice bath. Moving on to episode 6. This one is Buxomburg. So Bernice and her son, we see that they're talking. Her son is the sheriff, by the way. He works for the police department. They're talking about Thanksgiving. He wants her to host like she used to do when his father was alive and when Bert was around and all of that. And she's like, I'm not domesticated no more. I'm a city girl. I'm not doing that. Those days are over. She ain't cooking and cleaning and cleaning and cooking. She ain't doing it. Of course, he gives some sob story about missing her, missing family, missing. And of course, she's happy to give her baby a Thanksgiving dinner since he gonna be so pitiful about it. Bernice's son and his partner, we see now they're back in real time. They drop by her store and they notice the register's gone and it's brain matter all over the wall and all of that. And he's still in denial. Poor thing was still like, maybe, no, that's not, that can't be her. She's okay. He said Thanksgiving is in a week. She'd never do it. She'd never miss it. Her son follows the blood trail, back to the back of the store where the picnic is and still intact. And he sees that box and it's for Eddie Gein. And so of course they go straight to Ed's house. Moths are flying all over the house. It's stank. The house is a mess. They see all his little creations all over the house. The skull bowls, all kind of things. The staircase is decorated with nipples. The lampshade made of skin. The teeth and the bones lining around. It's a damn mess. And I'm sure the house smells of death and decay. Meanwhile, Wait, first of all, do they find... Yeah. They find everything. And Frank and they're talking about what's going on? What's going on is y'all need to call back up. It's time to get the other people in here now. They get the people in there to collect and process everything. Like I said, meanwhile, Bernice's son, he's sitting in that rocking chair just broken. Just broken. Talking to himself. It's just all too much for him to process. And then he remembers there's a barn. So he runs to the barn. And that's where he finds his mother. Suspended in the air. Gutted. Like a pig with her head missing. He in there hollering and screaming. Poor thing. Eddie. He pulling up. He pull up like nothing is going. What are you guys all doing here? Hey guys, what's everybody doing here? Ed, what? He acting like he don't understand what's going on. Cause of course the sheriff ran out there and started beating his ass. He's like, what did you do that for? We've always gotten along so good. Eddie. See, and in these moments, it's like, damn, was he really not there? Was he really not all there? Because he has his cunning moments, I'm telling y'all, where he is thinking clearly, absolutely. Like when he decides, I'm not going to use my gun, I'm going to use hers. Or when he decided to kill Poe Mary, went in that bathroom and was like, she was trying to offer me a prostitute. She's a harlot. I got to go kill her. But now that you don't pull it up to your house is swarming with cops. You know what you've been doing in there. And you going to say, what's everybody doing here? You know you killed that boy mama. But yet you wondering why he done started whooping off in your ass. Eddie is something else. Anyway, Addie, she out minding her business. When she sees other kids staring at her and they're gossiping about her, you know, because they know that she's close to Ed. She ain't heard the news yet. She ain't heard the story. They scurry off, you know. And the waiter has to fill her in on what's going on with Ed. Ed now is sitting in a holding cell. They process all of the body parts, you know, trying to identify this body that was hanging up in the barn. The ME comes out. You know, tells Frank, you know, about their progress or the lack thereof, because they're still trying to piece it together. He just wants his mama so that he can bury her, but they still trying to locate all of her. Addie, she got the media at her door. She loves it. She loves the attention, you know. She comes out there with a speech prepared for the press. She lying about her relationship with Ed like she ain't know nothing. She ain't had nothing to do with nothing. Just a lie. I said, and if she's a real person, because I didn't do no background research on her, but if she is a real character from his life's story, her ass should have been in jail right beside him. Right beside him. Especially for the digging up the corpses and influencing him to assault them. Because that was all her. Anyway, because I mean, she all but an accomplice. Talking about she ain't had nothing to do with it. They go back when they start, you know, asking her questions. They berate her with them questions. They're not here for none of that. They don't want to hear none of that. Girl, you was absolutely in cahoots. We see the sheriff talk to Ed, and they're like, we feel like it's just like close to like 200 people. Ed, he say, I didn't do it. He can't explain, you know, he can't explain it. He don't feel like he did any of it. He doesn't remember killing Bernice. He say, check the guns. And see, here we go again. What you thinking you smarter than everybody, Ed? Are you calculated or not? Is this mental illness or not? Because you made sure to let them know that they needed to check your gun. Check my gun. Surely if I fired it, then you would be able to tell. Then you want to tell him, oh, why don't I take one of those lie detector tests? That'll tell you everything. Because he know how to pass it. Oh, do you have some chewing gum? You ain't slick, mother. He crafty is what he was. Crafty. Because he was absolutely trying to preserve his freedom. All that he don't know. I don't know. It wasn't me. Oh, I don't know. That's peculiar. He say he had a hobby. His hobby of digging up the dead bodies was just a hobby. He doesn't remember killing Bernice. How could I? Did I shoot her? And then they like, we found her head under your couch. I don't know how it got there. Ed is crazy. He's crazy, but he's also crafty. Absolutely. He ended up, he was passing the organs around to the neighbors, bringing them body parts, talking about it was from, animals that he might have hunted. No. And the people like, this is it's cooking up it's a different kind of meat. Just was feeding people to the people. Just feeding people to the people. Anyway, Ed, like I said, agreed to do that lie detector test, which he passes because he's crafty. He knows he knows how to keep his body from being stressed. Because for one, they showed him initially what they were gonna do, and so all he had to do was pick up. Oh, okay, this is how I'm gonna pass this. Just shoddy police work, just all around. They just gave him an opportunity to pass the daggone lie detector test, even though those are not submittable in court. We ain't buying no. We not. That's a science that they're not respecting in the courts. Anyway, Adeline, she stops Frank on the street and harasses him about his mother. She's pissed. She really is. She really is. The other cop got to get over there and like shoo her off her crazy tail. Said, "Girl, get on. Like you a reporter." She was crazy too. Anyway, it's Thanksgiving. Sheriff said you can come to my house. You can come around to my house for dinner. So the sheriff is home with his family and he has a gift for his wife. It's an electric knife. And Frank, he's on time for dinner. The sheriff, they say a special prayer for Frank at dinner. And she brings out that electric knife. And when he hears it, it immediately triggers him. And he's just sitting there disassociating, thinking about his mother being chopped up with an electric saw. Like he was literally seeing her on the table. Whole thing, just going through. Anyway, episode 7. Episode 7 is ham radio. So Frank is a drunk now. He done picked up drinking after his mother was killed. It's 1958, and he's auctioning off everything at the Ed Gein estate. He said, "This time I'm gonna get my damages. What you want me to do?" Cause it's partner like, this is not cool. We shouldn't be doing this. It's, whatever. He say, whatever. He say, listen, they talking about Ed was too crazy to stand trial. He's in an institution for the criminally insane. Like, he's just living his cushy life. I'm about to sell all this. And the people will absolutely go over there and bid on all that stuff. There are definitely people who are into that crazy sort of thing, and he just was finna capitalize off of it. Sue him. Because he done made the whole house an attraction. And while he was out, in the streets, Ed's house ended up being burned to the ground. Somebody went over there and burned it to the ground, so he can't do nothing with it now. Adeline is first in line to break the story. And the last thing out there, the only thing out there to bid on is his old truck. Which, of course, they're going to start bidding on that. Ed, we see he's in there, like I said, just living a cushy life, having a time using his hands to make a rug, being sweet to the staff and everything. Just having a good time. Just having a good time. And he's well liked over there. They're just enamored. They're just enamored with his notoriety and him being who he is, because he's basically famous now. They've sold his estate. One of the nurses come in there and give him his cut of it. It's $300. He can't believe it. And she's like, listen, hey, listen, you want me to do some more stuff for you? For a fee, I'll do it. You want me to bring whatever you need me to buy with your money, I'll do that. And you let me have the rest. So she's trying to scam him. She was trying to scam him out his money. But he agrees. He agrees. He wants 3 radios. It ain't our business why he want 3. Because she asked why you need 3. None of your business. And he also would like a new bra. He writes a letter to the butcher. He would love to speak to her. He sent her one of the radios. He's a big fan. And she says she read about him too, because they have a conversation. She's read about him too. And then she says that she never did the things that they said she did. And, she's disgusted by those things. Who would do those things? And he's like, I did those things. Actually, you was my greatest inspiration. And she's like, listen, well, you're sick. You're absolutely sick. And, you you need to get some help. You need to get some help for that. And she said something about him starting a club for monsters and she would like to be a part. And then she asked him what made him do those things. And while we're talking to her, we're also getting like this split with him talking to his therapist. Ed still can't believe that he would have done any of those things. He says, how could he? Blood makes him squirm. He's kind of squeamish. He can't remember the crimes that he's been accused of. And before she goes, she tells him, don't call yourself a monster. You shouldn't do that. You're a human being. Don't do that to yourself. Then we see a guard that comes down to remind the butcher who she is and why she's there. And talking about you like to lie on the radio, acting like you a victim and all of that. And then she falls asleep on the floor. And we see her wake up under a table. And it's obvious she's lost her mind. She writes out a suicide note and then just hangs herself. So that's the end of that. Ed, he's sitting around in his lingerie, just doing a little dancey dance in his room, listening to music. And he's listening to that trans woman that he's obsessed with. And then we see Christine, the trans woman. She gets to her apartment and the radio is waiting for her. And she, gets on there. Ed immediately answers and tells her that he's been following her since she became a woman. And he thinks that I just think you're the bee's knees. And he feels like they have so many similarities and all of that. And then Christine, she's trying to cut the call short, a little bit, just trying to get him off the line. But Ed, wants to share how he also feels like he may be trans. And, he tells her why and everything. And Christine is like, I don't know. I don't know if you're exactly like me. It sounds like something else. And she gives him a name for it and everything, where basically his obsession is to be inside a woman's body. The whole wearing women's skin, being obsessed with the woman's physique and all of that, just wanting to wear a woman. That ain't trans. That's not what that is. And so she definitely fills him in on what that quirk is, because it ain't trans. It ain't that. And she gives it to him gently, and she's not rude about it. But she said, we're not alike at all. She has to explain the psychology behind his desires. And she wishes him well. But this is gonna have to be goodbye. Ed gets interrupted by that head nurse, who ain't one of his little friends, because she done took over. The other one is out. The other one is out. She's like, and I'm from here on out, I'll be treating you like the sick murderer that you are. I know it's been playtime, but playtime is over. She sees through his little innocent act. That night, he look up on the ceiling and he can see the ceiling and turned to a face for him. And it said, kill them all. And also, he sees Nurse Salty in his room. That's the nurse that had to leave. I don't know if Nurse Salty was ever a real person or not, but she is the one that gives him the keys to let himself out. While the guards are asleep, he sneaks out of his room. He goes and he finds a chainsaw that just happens to be there in a place like this. So it was obvious to me, yeah, this is some type of dream sequence. This ain't really happening. Because he in there, he waits in the bathroom, and the other nurse is in there. And before she can even get her pants unzipped, he starts peeing to announce that he's in there. And he starts talking to her, making it all weird. Like, you can't run. I'm in the stall closest to the door. So I'm gonna get you before you get to the door. Trust and believe. And of course, that's exactly what happened. He pulled out that chainsaw and cut her up in that bathroom. Of course, that ain't what really happened. Of course, it was all in his head. He need to see a doctor right now. Right now. And then he goes and tells the doctor about the face in the ceiling. The doctor asks, who you been talking to over the radio, because he's not talking to anybody. They ain't sent them radios out. They ain't sent them radios to nobody. He been just sitting there having full conversations with himself. Y'all, this was the episode that had me completely questioning everything. Because, and it was definitely the actor. It was definitely the actor. The actor did a great job at making me feel sorry for Ed Gein. Him having that realization that he is in fact mentally unwell and that there's a diagnosis for it. It must have been torture for people in that time period to deal with mental health issues and not know what the hell to do about it or what mental health is in general. Same thing with Adeline. She was definitely bipolar. Definitely something going on there. Same with Ed Gein. He finds out that he's schizophrenic. I was really weeping. I couldn't believe it. I said, no, I am not weeping for Ed Gein. But it was just him sitting there all pitiful and weeping and just, what is wrong with me? Please, I don't want to feel like this. It's like they become, he was just so childlike. I felt so bad for him. I really did. I really did. And that was that moment where it's like, is he really the bad guy that they've portrayed him to be, or was he just really somebody extremely mentally ill? Because of course, now we got to get him on meds to get him better. Let's move on to episode 8, the last one. Episode 8 is titled The Godfather. So now we see Ted Bundy and his contribution to the bullshit. We see his MO he pretends to be hurt, gets the girl to help him. He hits her upside the head, and he already had a girl in his trunk. Hits her upside the head, now he got both of them in the woods, and he of course rapes and kills them. Comes back, because that was his thing. He would come back to visit the bodies, returning to the crime scene to desecrate their bodies some more. It's just a crazy person. Anyway, we're in Salem, Oregon. We see Agent Rossi. I said, okay, so Agent Rossi must be a real figure. Now, he not no made-up character on Criminal Minds. He's a real figure. Anyway, Agent Rossi and the BAU, they are down to the prison interviewing another serial killer. His name is Jerry. They need his expertise. This was given Mindhunter. This was a splash of Mindhunter in here, because that's what they do. Mindhunter is about the BAU, the early days of them going and talking to the different serial killers, so that they can, solve their own case. And they find that this person also is picking up pointers from Ed Gein. And the guy that they're talking to, he too was a, Ed Gein fan. And he says his MO was to ejaculate in the women's shoes. They ended up bringing him a pair. He elated. Couldn't wait to put them shoes on. They're like, listen, I don't care if y'all watch, but I'm about to. Gross. Anyway, the BAU thinks that talking to the source would be better. They want to go talk to Ed. Ed has in the past declined all interviews because now that he's stable, mentally stable, he ain't really here for the fame of it all and the people having a positive response to him, because he's ashamed of what he's done. He would really rather not discuss it, But they need to go talk to him. They need to talk to him to see if they can get his help with this case. Like I said, he's stable now. He's an old man. He takes a look at the photos, and they ask him, are the photos arousing you? He's like, nah, my shit don't work no more anyway. He said, maybe when I was younger, but them parts don't work the same no more. They share the details of the murders and all of that, and Ed gives his expertise on the chainsaws and encourages them to look up anybody buying this specific type of chainsaw. He said because it's not easy to take off someone's head. There has to be a blade of a particular type, and he gives them that. Then we see Ted again back at the crime scene. Using the very same saw that Ed said that he'd be using, a hacksaw, and he's there because his trophies are the woman's heads. That's what he took. These people are nuts. They really are. They're just really... Anyway, the trans man, excuse me, should I say there's a trans man, and he's not even trans. Let me not call him that, because he ain't no trans man. He got these breasts or took these hormones for a specific reason. I can't remember why, but this person was also like in real life a real nut. Anyway, he in prison, letting prisoners fill on his breasts for crack. There's one black guy in particular, and this black guy, I looked these people up, and that man looked just like that man. They casted him perfectly. They casted both of them perfectly. What was his name? Because I definitely wrote it down. Oh my God. Richard Speck. You go look up Richard Speck, you're going to see him in that black man. That was his man. This is Prison Bay. Prison Bay, the one that would, knock him down, for a little crack. He was also a fan, he was sending pictures of his breast to Ed Gein, like that was supposed to, do something for him, sending him some fan mail. He said he was inspired by him, and he cut up all those nurses just for no reason. Then he tells them, about Ted and how Ted plans on killing a sorority house full of women. Because he and Ted done got in cahoots, that they've been conversing back and forth. And that's exactly what Ted goes to do. He went in there and bludgeoned all them women in that sorority house. Ed, we see, has a visitor, and he also has a tip for the detective, that is on this case. And he tells him, what the T is. Oh, I got a letter. His name is Ted. He drives a Volkswagen, a Beetle to be exact, just et cetera, just really fills him in on everything he knows about Ted Bundy. Y'all need to go look him up. Then we see Ed. He's wheelchair bound now. He sees on the news that they caught Ted Bundy. He's proud of himself because he helped them do that. He helped solve the case. Then he closed his eyes for a second, and I thought that he was out of here, y'all. I thought that was that. It wasn't his last nap, though, because his chair starts to roll forward to the light. Then he opens his eyes, and it's almost like he's seeing his life come to an end, and he really is. He is. He got Charles Manson waiting on him. Everybody just... Charles Manson, Ed Kemper, Jerry Brunos, whatever his name is, Richard Speck. Everybody just waiting. Ryan Murphy got it. He has an obsession about serial killers. I'm starting to pick up on that. But they leading him on to the upper room. He's not gone yet. He's sitting with his nurse, and she tells him that she spoke with the doctor. He has lung cancer, and it is too far gone for him to have any type of treatment for it. It's stage 4, so it's really only going to be like a couple of months before he's gone. And she suggests that he write his own story before he goes. Don't let these people tell your story for you. You write your own story. And he say, listen, the story has been told plenty. He thinks his story has been told plenty of times. And it has, because they done put it in every damn movie. In every one. In every last one. Anyway, he has a visitor. It's Adeline. And I say, how did Adeline look so young? Adeline looked young as hell. But anyway, Adeline is there to visit. And she, you know, he's an 80-year-old. He looks like an 80-year-old man or whatever. And she tells him that she's sick too. She ends up telling him about her mental instability and what she's been dealing with. But she ain't taking no meds. It's clear she's bipolar. What she described, her symptoms that she described, she has to be bipolar. And she talking about she there to she want to stop him from taking his meds too. No, girl. He's stable now. You're not finna undo years of work. She shows him a list of people she want to kill. Bye, Adeline. Bye, girl. Please leave. Ed, he watching MTV. He watching MTV when he drifts off to sleep again. This time, waking up in an 80s music video. And it really is the end of the road for Ed, because, you know, he sees his mom at the top of the stairs. And I'm just like, we really romanticizing this man. We are not. We are not about to romanticize Ed Gein. These last couple of episodes really had me feeling a type of way, feeling very empathetic. Why? Why would y'all make me feel that way for Ed Gein? A whole murderer. Digging up people's mothers. Taking advantage of their dead bodies in such a way. Mutilating them. Using their bones as whatever you want to use them for. All of that stuff he was doing, and y'all want me, and y'all got me crying for him. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. Anyway, you know, we see him drift off. He dies in his sleep. We see some kids. They done dug up his tombstone, drug it off. They spray painted and everything, and it's not there. His headstone is not there. He's in between his mother and his brother, but his headstone is not there. In the end, we see Ed and Jackie sitting on the porch together, soaking up the sun. And she looks over and says, "Only your mother could love you." And she goes back to knitting, and they just sitting in whatever eternity that they're in. And that's the end. Just really an old, nice, sweet ending to some foolishness. That's kind of how they had me feeling about Dahmer. I actually, when it came to Dahmer, I ain't feel sorry for him at all. I didn't. I mean, I did, but I didn't. But when it comes to Ed Gein, somebody really dealing with serious mental health issues, I really empathize with you, because your mind is really playing tricks on you. Like, for real. A schizophrenic? Oh, he was absolutely unwell. Absolutely. And for a long time. It went unchecked so long. But then again, there are those moments where he was acting like he knew what he was doing. I'm going to get off of here. Because I done talked too long. Anyway, overall, I feel like, you know, I enjoyed the series. I would say it dragged on, a couple of episodes was hard for me to kind of finish. I would have to stop and come back to it. But when we got into the whole movies and how the movies correlated with Ed's story, now I was interested in that for sure. Definitely. That intrigued me. So yeah, they'll be back. I think the next one is going to be a woman. It's going to be a woman next time. So we're gonna get into her too. We're gonna get into her too. And they better not have me crying for her too, weeping. Weeping for the people. Anyway, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Peace and light.